Hey, it's Alex from Android Central, and this is the HTC Desire 820. It's HTC's mid-range flagship for late 2014, and if that sounds familiar, it's because it's a direct successor to the Desire 816, which held the same place in HTC's lineup earlier this year. So what's changed? Well, we're still looking at a plastic-bodied phone here, although this time HTC's added new accent colours and generally tightened up the design across the board. It is noticeably thinner and a bit lighter than the Desire 816, and a little easier to hold as a result, but make no mistake, this is still a big phone. Like its predecessor, it's got a 5.5-inch 720p display and front-facing HTC boom sound speakers, and yes, there's some fairly hefty bezels going on as well. 720p is a relatively low resolution in a world where we're reaching to QHD at the high end, but it's still good enough for most things you're going to do on a smartphone. Thankfully, the buttons have been moved somewhere where they're actually reachable now. They're on the left edge before, and now they're on the right, and you can see the new accent colours around the buttons as well as in other places. The sides are ever so slightly flatter too, which makes it easier to hold, and the back feels less like a fingerprint magnet than before, though that may be down to the lighter colour. Overall, it just feels like a sharper design, though we've already noticed some scratching on the glossy plastic back after just a day of use. So this is the Indian dual SIM Desire 820 we're using here. So there's 2 nano SIM slots alongside a microSD slot. What that means is you can get connected on 2 networks at once. One main SIM for data, which goes up to LTE, the other limited to 2G for calls only. And of course you can make and receive calls through either SIM. If you want to switch which SIM is used for data, there's a menu for that in the Settings app. On the software side, as you might expect, we're running HTC Sense 6 atop Android 4.4.4 KitKat. So all the features you might be familiar with from earlier HTC devices have made it across, including the Blink Feed home screen launcher, a bunch of different themes and core apps like HTC Zoe. And you'll get some but not all of the HTC camera features. There's no Zoe shot mode, but the 820 does come with split capture like the Desire I. And speaking of cameras, the Desire 820 boasts an upgraded 13 megapixel camera, the same sensor used in the Butterfly 2, behind an f2.2 lens. As such, it produces similar results. Pretty good overall, but the quality degrades rapidly in low light. Around the front it's got an 8 megapixel shooter, not quite Desire I territory, but it's more detailed than most front faces. But the most interesting feature for tech enthusiasts might be what's going on under the hood. The Desire 820 is one of the first 64-bit capable phones out there, running an octa-core Snapdragon 615 processor, so the hardware is 64-bit, and you get all the performance advantages of the improved ARM v8 platform, but it's still running 32-bit Android for now. HTC says the Desire 820 will be updated to Android 5.0 Lollipop in the near future to take full advantage of its 64-bit capabilities. On the inside, there's also a 2600 mAh fixed battery, which does a decent job of getting the 820 through a full day of use, and you of course have the usual power management options to back that up, including extreme power saver mode. And the internal storage has also been doubled to 16GB from the previous 8, which is good to see, but 16 is pretty much the minimum we'd expect to see on any device these days. So that's the HTC Desire 820. It's more of a reimagining of the Desire 816 with upgraded internals and a snappier design than a completely new product. The size is still a main selling point, although that will be a reason for some buyers to skip it, as this is still a very big phone. Overall though, it's another solid, speedy mid-ranger from HTC.